Hi everyone, hope you're well. A very quick video on prospects as we run into Northern Hemisphere winter 2022-2023. What might global conditions hold? Well, September's forecast that we deal with covered September, October, November. So we can look at November and perhaps get an indication of what might happen in December, January. We may get some flavour of how the Northern Hemisphere winter is going to evolve. So that being said, what this plot here shows is an average of the 4 forecasting systems that we use here at EarthSystemData, and it's a surface air temperature, the 2 metre air temperature across the globe, and it's benchmarked to normal conditions for 1993 to 2016, and these oranges and reds as ever show it's going to be warmer than that period's average, and the blues are going to indicate likelihood of colder conditions compared to that benchmark period, and this is degrees centigrade or degrees Kelvin, degrees centigrade as an anomaly, so it's the same thing. So let's take a quick look then. Let's start in the southern hemisphere as it runs into spring, of course, down there. Quite an interesting feature over Australia, these blues and these greys indicating about 2 degrees colder than expected for November. Don't forget, this is an average of 4 forecasting systems. So what you want to do is have a look at each of the 4 and work out, is this average being dominated by one of the models having a really strong signal and the other 3 maybe just being neutral. That's not the case in this event. Just had a look at the numbers, and most of the modelling systems are agreeing for colder than expected conditions for November over Australia, so that's quite interesting there. Elsewhere in the southern hemisphere of note, can you guess what this is? So this is the La Nina cold tongue, as we call it, and it's being driven by cold sea surface temperatures cooling the air above it. So the air temperatures above here are colder than expected. We've been in a La Nina for quite a long time now. Actually, the models, if you remember last winter, the models did a really good job of capturing the La Nina signal over America and Canada, where we had colder air over here. And then on Christmas Day, if you might remember, in Texas, they had very, very warm, hot basically weather. And that was a result of La Nina forcing. So the 4 forecasting systems that I refer to do a very good job, firstly in predicting what state this sector of the ocean is going to be in, and then as a result, especially in winter, Northern Hemisphere winter, what the temperature response will be. So this blue area, this grey area, cold conditions representative of La Nina. In the reverse state that you've probably all heard of, El Nino, this would be warmer than average. It's also important because it drives what the global mean temperature might be. So that's the indicator of global warming essentially, and in La Nina conditions tends to bring the global temperature down a little bit. The world still warms, but it doesn't warm as much as it would do than if we had a El Nino condition. Very important as we approach the 1.5 degree warming threshold. If we have an El Nino going into next year, or maybe by summer, Northern Hemisphere summer next year, if this switches to El Nino, then we really are beginning to run the risk of approaching that 1.5 degree threshold, but that's for another video. Northern Hemisphere then, November, warmer than normal by about 1 to 2 degrees over continental USA and Canada. Moving across into Europe, very slightly a kind of a weaker, warmer signal of about 0.5 to 1 degree for November as a whole. But as we get into Russia, and as is normally the case in this kind of subarctic zone, the signal here is very warmer than normal by about almost 6 degrees. Number of reasons for this is an area that gets hit hard by carbon warming because of the nature of the land surface up here, which is typically either permafrost, snow and ice, or over the ocean it's usually sea ice, especially as we run into winter. Carbon-driven warming likes to attack and warm the subarctic, and so it depletes permafrost, removes the snow cover, And that allows more of the incoming solar radiation to be absorbed by the land surface, and so you get these strong warming signals over the land. Over the ocean, we get a retreat in the sea ice, and thus that exposes liquid seawater, which is obviously warmer to the air temperature above it. So that's what's driving these warm signals up here. So there we go, November, strongly warmer than expected over here, kind of neutral, slightly warmer than expected over Europe, colder than expected over Australia, warmer than expected over North America continent, and then we've got this big plume of La Nina conditions. And the forecasts for La Nina running into December, January, February are a persistence of La Nina conditions. So if you want to explore these data in more detail, download the app. You get rainfall for free, and then you can unlock temperature, and then you can look at the individual models, and you can also look up different locations. So beyond that, if you have a company or an organization that can make some planning or strategic decisions based on the raw numbers that we deal with here, drop us a note. That's a project we can supply for you. So hope this is of interest. We'll have new data going in on October the 13th to the app, and that will cover October, November and December. So stay tuned for that, or download the app. Okay, thanks for watching. Speak soon. Bye.